Welcome to the Shot Clock Podcast with me, Jago. It's Thursday morning. It's the 5th of August. It's the second part of our Lindsay Peat episode. Big shout out to Paul Kelleher's under 18 boys who had a heartbreaking loss last night, Wednesday, to Hungary. Best of luck for the rest of the tournament, fellas. Bounce back. We're all here. We're all supporting you. We're all behind you. Without further ado, let's get to the second part of Lindsay's episode and we'll talk afterwards. So here she is. It's Lindsay Peat. Look, shout out to the Irish senior women. This is a nice little transition now. Shout out to the Irish senior women who were unbelievable last week. Unbelievable. From, look, James Weldon, Gillian Hayes, all the way down, 1 to 12. That team were phenomenal.
Phenomenal. And we're so proud of them.
O'Connor didn't play in the semi-final, came on and did a job yesterday. You know what I mean? Claire Melia was fantastic, rightly onto the All-Star team. Unbelievable tournament. Sorka Tiernan shot the lights out, 5 trees in the set, like unreal. Grania Dwyer comes in, steadies the shift, pushes on, and she's in and out. And she doesn't moan. It's just in, do your job, out, in, do your job, out. It's great. My under 16, as I said to you earlier on, I'm coaching under 16 girls now, and I have them watching that team and going, look, watch what they do. I got them to watch the under 20s. I was like, these girls are getting hammered. They don't care. They're representing Ireland. They're playing their hearts out. They're playing their souls out. They don't give up. That's what you need to do. Yeah. They're kind of looking, going, but it's not about winning or losing. No. It's about representing. And look, I want a big shout out to you and your Wild Rovers teammates and former Irish teammates. For anyone who hasn't seen it, I'll try and link the video in this episode. So the under-20s took a lot of shit from a lot of people who have no right to speak on Irish basketball, in my opinion. You know, shut up. If you have nothing positive to say, don't say it. But we spoke earlier about the affinity and the love that you have for wearing that jersey. And you girls came out and you told truth. Everyone of you spoke your own truth and said, look, we've been through tough times. I thought your piece was particularly poignant because it was like, you know, the life lessons I've learned. It wasn't just sport. It was life. Yeah. And it was wearing that jersey that brought you to the place where you are now. Mm-hmm. And I watched that and had to watch it again because I was just like, I need to take this in. It was just, it was amazing. And it was typical of our community.
Absolutely.
Somebody attacks one of us.
You attack all of us.
We all come in. We're all building that shield around that under 20 team. And again, what a fantastic job they did. Unlimited resources, limited training times. What people forget, all these keyboard warriors saying how bad they are and shouldn't be on the team and the coaches are wrong and Kojak shouldn't be there and he's only picking his favourite. They're up against 95% of professional players on those other teams. Our girls are working a job and playing basketball at the weekends. Yeah. That's not their full-time job. Like you work a real job and then go and represent your country. So for people to sit behind their keyboard and abuse these girls, I just thought it was disgusting. But to see what you girls did to rally behind them, like I watched your video, and the second I'd watched it the second or third time, I rooted out our under 19 team picture and posted it saying, here we are. We went to the Europeans. We got absolutely blitzed in every game. But I'm part of a WhatsApp group with every one of those players 20 odd years later. And that's what basketball does. The result didn't go for you, grand. Learn from it. But look, you know what I mean? So big shout out to the Wild Rovers and all the girls on the team. And as I said to you, your piece was particularly poignant because it spoke about life. What made you do it? Was it just that anger at somebody going after our country?
I think we all started, because I put the link in the group, right? And I said, lads, what's the story with this? Just picking this up now. And Katrina, everyone just bounced on really quick. And I was like, nah. You know, all of us kind of said straight away, now we need to do something. We need to show the love because we've all been there. Like I spoke to you before we started recording. One of my memories before I joined Mercy was a 70-point loss. Now, it wasn't international. You know, we had some big losses. I was very privileged. But I still had those losses. I still had those moments. I still, had those moments where it's like, my God, this is. Well, I never felt it. I never felt like I ever wanted to give up. It was just a really tough day at the office, but everyone just rallied around. Like, I'll never forget after like heartache with Glanmore, we all stood around a bin and we burnt a piece of, just really, it was just loads of pieces from newspapers after that loss in the semi-final of the cup, and we're like, you know what? We're just going to burn it because the words mean nothing. It's only about the people in this room. So we just wanted to get around the girls because after being a year out, for all that they went through, to be brave to travel through COVID, still like so many countries affected with COVID, it's still rampant as we speak, to be brave enough to travel to represent your country with such little training and do it in such style with such pride and passion. That's all we ever ask of anyone in the basketball community.
Absolutely.
And when you buy in, you're buying into a family that never lets you down. And I think we showed that. Like the videos got so many hits because the basketball community, there's so much love and we want to know what everyone says, and everyone jumped on and just got behind them. And I think I'd be very embarrassed if I was one of those people now who put up some negative, SHIT that had no relevance. If you don't got nothing to say, just don't say anything at all. These are young, aspiring athletes who are given everything, and not on our watch, not in the basketball community.
Not on our watch. That's exactly it. And it's that big brother and big sister attitude. Mm-hmm. They're under 20, they're kids. They're kids. How dare you call them out? How dare you question them? You
would have had someone who brought you along who was your mentor, and you got past that torch to be mentored to someone underneath you. So as the Wild Rovers, like so many of them were mentors to me and Fahy and Niamh, and it's our job to be mentors, and all the life lessons and all those learnings and all those, we talk about all these cliche characteristics and these skills that we learn through sport. It's time to use them. It's when you action them that you know what you're really. So it's all those values that we learned through the mentorship of generations that pass it on down. It's our job to pass on that mentorship and protect those that are coming up behind us. So it's not only on the basketball court, it's when there's shit off it that you do what others did for you and protect you. Because they need to be protected. Like, they will get no better learnings than what they got in those Europeans. Like you said, professional players. And what you look at is our respect. You take the learnings, you take what you did well, you take what other teams did well, and you try and, take that on and be better. And that's all you can ask for. Listen, they will get no amount of training sessions, nothing will give them the value that they got from that tournament. And there's just so much love for both the under-20s and the seniors. We're so proud of you. And it was a joy to watch us and have boys teams back on a basketball court. So for me, absolutely buzzing.
It was great. It was great just to see them play again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just great to see them, stand there for the anthem, the whole lot. It's just, I haven't missed a minute. I can't wait. The under-18s flew out on Sunday, so they start tomorrow at 4:00. Tommy O'Matney and Carl Kilbride are over with the 18s. So looking forward. That's another week of basketball. Like, can we get any better? This is just, it's perfect.
No, and fair play basketball Ireland social media. Like, if you can't catch the games live, just star onto the Twitter or the Instagram, whatever alert you have to get, and keep on top of it, because that's how I've been doing. If I haven't caught the games live, I've caught here and there, and I've kept up on everything. And do you know what? Don't be thinking about wishing people good luck. Just get on and wish them good luck. Send out the positive.
Send out the positive vibes. That's exactly it. Right, we'll get back to our normal show now.
I know, sorry.
Look, it's me and you. This, like I said, this will go on till Wednesday.
I know.
So it's you and 4 others going to a pickup game. Who are you taking with you?
Man, this another one was terrible. Right, myself. Yeah. I went for Sharon Kelly, because no matter the opposition, Sharon has to be there for me. Born and bred in Coolock, both from the same club. So much love for her. I picked Michelle Fahy, very, very good friend of mine, and taught me a lot. Has to be Suzanne McGuire. And again, it kills me. I'm gonna go for the Mad Niamh Dore.
Brilliant.
Now, can I just say, honestly, Jacob, that was one of my hardest questions. I'd actually eliminate me and pick probably someone else. Like, it was just like, I'm not even good enough to be on this team. But
everybody finds that's one of the hardest ones. Everyone kind of goes, "Oh Jesus, you're putting me on the spot here," because they go, "I'll pick that person," and they go, "Actually, hang on, No, I better.
Oh, listen, I can hear Katrina White now. I'm going to take absolute abuse.
Do we give her the
in the
honorary
WhatsApp.
six man?
Yes,
again?
please.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's twice that's happened. So,
well, you know yourself how many dollar bills the six man has paid. So that's how important they are. So you remember that, Katrina? Don't be giving me any shit.
yeah, you're in there. We've got you in again. So, changing lanes. Top 5 musical artists of all time. Who's on your rotation?
Right, now don't give me shit for this. I'm very eclectic, right?
Love that word. Love it. That's the third time it's been used on the podcast.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, eclectic is kind of excuse for don't burn me on these. I'm going to go with Fleetwood Mac. My mum was a big Fleetwood Mac fan growing up, and they just never aged.
Good shout.
I'm going to go with the Dubliners because I'm a dub, true and true.
2 for 2.
I'm going to go with Queen, Missy Elliott. I'm going to go with Pink.
Why would I give you shit over that 5?
That's okay. Because there's so many, it's like the ballers, it's like there's so many musicians out there, so many artists, you're like, oh man.
No, that's a solid 5. Missy Elliott always reminds me of Sharon Kelly, and I've no idea why.
Well, I remember being outside.
I had to be a club somewhere.
Club, or she was trying to teach me how to twerk in front of a car one kind of November night, waiting for training to happen, and my hips don't lie, they just weren't working. But yeah, I think we were twerking to a bit of Miss.
On that wall.
Yeah. She was killing it, and she was like, come on, because we used to call each other the Beyonce. So she was like, come on, the Beyonce. I was like, I'm trying. So yeah, we were waiting on Mark for training. So
listen, you have a bit of pull with Sharon Kelly. I've been waiting since March to get her on here, and every week there's a different excuse. So it's your turn now to reach out. Scally's tried, Darren McGuinness has tried. Now it's your turn. We need Sharon Kelly on this podcast.
Sharon, look into my eyes. The Beyonce. You are my idol. You tried to show me how to twerk, the floaters, the jumps, when you've no right to rebound, you need to get on this show. We need to hear from Sharon Kelly. Absolutely.
I completely agree. Right, so you're the DJ. What 3 songs are we warming up to?
Now, these, I was like playing them. I was like, yeah. We're going to start easy breeze. We're going to start with Mace, Welcome Back. Because obviously it'd be my first time back in the court with my warm-up tunes.
Okay.
Then we're going to go Missy Elliott, Get Your Freak On. Yeah, baby.
That's my Sharon Kelly theme tune.
100%. Sharon, how many more subliminal messages do we need to give you? Get on the show. And then we're going to really lighten up, like really last, like kind of 5 minutes. Prodigy for a starter.
Has to be. That's your ideal warm-up song, isn't it? It just sums it perfectly.
Can you see my eyes bulging on my
Well, it is. I can see it. It's not. I can see it hitting the layup, kicking off the layup line and running at the opposition, staring them down while 4 starters playing, and you're just watching their star. You're just
specifically Niamh Dwyer.
Jesus, Niamh's getting a lot of love or hate, or I don't know.
No.
Getting a lot of mentions.
I love her, but I hate her at the time because I was like, oh, you know what? And look, they were unbelievable. Mary Breen, Donna Buckley, the 2 Dwars when they had Fahy. Unbelievable team. And then Scally. Scally be on a whim, and Mark would be like, he'd be having the chessboard out, getting us ready, But yeah, great memories.
Big shout out to Mark Ingle as well. What a coach. That's
absolutely.
That's it. I'm leaving it at that. What a coach. End of story. End of Mark Ingle. There you go. So here's the other one that causes a lot of issues with people. 16-year-old Lindsay sitting down in front of you. What advice do you give her?
I want to say don't be a dick.
What an answer.
just don't be a dick. Yeah, I think I went through that period. It was like, do you know what? If I knew my shit together, I'd thinking back, I'm like, Mark was exceptional, but Mark could still say, like, I couldn't send you for scholarship. You're just crazy. You wouldn't last in the States because who know what I'd do. So yeah, I'd probably just say, don't be a dick. You've such potential. But the other flip side of that, Jago, is if I didn't go through all those periods and really getting down to nitty gritty and how much sport meant to me, specifically basketball. I don't think it would have meant as much when I finally got my opportunity through Maeve Coleman. It was just a dream come true, and I'd learned a lot of. I'd gone through a lot of tests. I'd lost a lot of weight. I'd come to, I think one of my first year or two when I got National League, I got National League Player of the Year. That again, I cried. I didn't think I was so deserving of it. I had that really overwhelming imposter syndrome. Same when kind of Maeve cut out. I didn't think I'd make it. And I kept having to remind myself, well, what Maeve does, like, what can you do that Maeve does? Like, well, Maeve loves her team spit. You can do that. Like, you can play D and you can be fit and you can work your ass off and you can be open. So previously, 16-year-old Lindsay, I'm sure knew it all and thought she had the world at her feet, you know what I mean? And then you're not on the good side of referees, you've an attitude problem, you're not going, but you're kind of a sheet. And as I said, there was times where like, it wasn't all bad, but I was just like, I was so aggressive and so competitive and it was everyone else's fault, so it was all these things that you were like, but it wasn't all bad all the time, but as things got more and I got more intense and I loved it more and I wanted to be better and I wanted to win, that's when those things were hard. The emotions were hard to control. And still to this day, probably the emotions are hard to control. It's like, I could say I'm not an emotional being, but I'm actually very emotional. I just don't know how to control them. So probably I scare people, and really, as I'm older now, I was nearly 41, I'm saying to myself, no, you actually are very emotional. You're just not, I don't cry a lot, but my emotions come out through sport in a very different way. So it's, they're the kind of realizations you come to. So the overriding message would be, don't be a dick because you don't realize your potential. But we go through pieces of life and journeys to kind of peel back the strengths that we have and the resilience, the struggle to want something so bad and to come through at the other side and achieve it. Like, you'll never get that feeling again. Like we spoke about it being in Ireland jersey. I was actually looking over photos tonight and, thinking about Irish players was tough. I had this Helena Skerovich, I think was her name, but she was probably my toughest opponent ever. And she was the point guard for Montenegro, and I thought they were exceptional. But again, like all pros, like she was pro in looking back on her resume was like she played with a club in Warsaw in Poland, and it's a pro women's basketball team. So, but she was unbelievable. Like I couldn't come near her with the ball. I mean, it was probably my best defensive performance. So, as I said, if I didn't have all those struggles coming up and going through that, would I be here now and able to transition and reassure myself that you may not make it on a skill level, but there's lots of other qualities that you've learned through your life and picked off other people and other unbelievable athletes? Yeah, you were at times a sponge and you picked up those things. And when you did realise the impact you had on people and how they've seen you, you kind of changed your attitude, and that's good. So part of me wants to say don't be a dick to see where you could go underage. But then I take away where I am now and the journey I've been through. And basketball and sport has played a huge part in that journey and has been my travelling companion. And it's about the life lessons and what I learned and what I picked off the beautiful people I've met along the way and the not so beautiful people, because it's nice to see what you don't want to be or how you don't want to act.
Look, couldn't have put that better myself. It's one of those things, it's control the controllables.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be afraid to be you either.
No, and at the end of the day, it takes a long time to say. Like a friend of mine was fluent in Irish, and I say, translate like Tom or Hom. It's like, I am who I am. And I think that was an Alan Iverson ad, and it really connected with me. I am who I am, because he used to get a lot of shit in the league, didn't he? For being whoever his background. Yeah, he's so skillful, but yeah, he was probably kind of a difficult character and whatever. But at the end of the day, he can only be him. You can only love Alan Iverson for being Alan Iverson. At the end of the day, people love me for being Lindsay Peat. That's all I can ask for them. And that's all I can be to myself is true. And again, for a lot of kids out there, it's a big bad world out there. There's a lot of shit going on social media telling you how to be. And at the end of the day, unless it's putting a smile on your face how you're acting, or the people around you are putting a smile on your face, then believe you me, it ain't worth it, because you only have to be you. Surround yourself with the people who make you feel you and make you feel happy. Very cliche, very deep, but honestly, I'd hate to be a kid growing up in today's world. We didn't have social media. We spent our days outside with people, and it was just a really carefree life to a lot of it. But there was struggles, there was drama around it, but you stuck together and you got through them. So yeah.
Brilliant advice. I'm going to sit my under 16s down to watch this because you can't get better than that. You know what I mean? So second last question.
Yes.
Dead or alive, 5 dinner guests. Who's coming to your house for dinner? Friends, family, or famous? The choice is yours.
I definitely pick my wife because we've been through an awful lot. She's a great cook and she's a great person and she's just amazing. So I'd have to put her down. I wanted Dennis Rodman because I just find him fascinating.
If you don't include me in this list, you're in trouble.
Yeah. You're coming. You're doing the drinks anyway. You're doing our cocktails.
Whatever you need me to do. If Rodman's there, I'm there. Look, I'll sweep the floor.
No. Yes, stop. You're getting a good job. You're the barman. Just don't, alcohol. Good cocktails. And Joe, I picked Pat Summitt. Because I think she's someone who really started from nothing. Started a Tennessee program from nothing.
Yeah. And
her drive and even some of her quotes I love because they just resonate. Like they're just simple. If you work hard, I'll outwork you. But that's a simple thing. You don't have to be skillful to do. So I just think for being a female head coach in probably a very tough world that she came into, one that was very pressure, a lot of money. She had to recruit, she had to build the program from the start. I think I'd love to meet her. I'd love to rack her brain. I'd love to hear her stories. I'd love to get her drunk. And then I'd love to maybe her to take me through a train session and give me some feedback. So there's lots for Pat to do. I picked Brendan Gleeson as well, just for the bit of crack. I think he's great fun, Irishman.
Inspirational though as well, though. You know what 100%. I mean? Came from very little, worked his way up and look at him now, like.
Yep, definitely. I don't know many have now. The last probably 2 I'd pick is me mum's mum and dad, because my son and my wife have never met either of them. And my nanny on that side probably died when I was 9. So I heard lots of amazing stories about her and I never get to meet her. And I think some of my stubborn streak comes from her. A lot of family values come from her. And probably that, I haven't alluded to that as well. Like, yourself, relationships, raising children, you adapt to be a better person and a mentor in that little term. So we're always learning. And yeah, I'd love for them to see where I'm at now, meet my little family, meet my little team at home, and getting emotional now, just get them to see where I am, And that granddad,
I can tell you now, they'd be very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And they were just solid, the values that were raised with come to the fore again with sports. So I don't think sometimes I certainly am very aware of giving, I said, my wife, my son, my own immediate family, my sisters, it doesn't have to be direct sporting skills. It's just about respect and immersing yourself and giving everything to the cause. And so those values. So as I said, I heard a lot of stories. I met my granddad, only passed away when I was 25. But it's funny, he was November, my mom is November, my son came early, he's November. There's all these little moments that I'd love to connect them back to. And he was certainly a man who loved sport. He loved tennis, and we were able to connect with that. He used to go to my soccer matches. And then I said it was his wife that passed away that I never met, but very protective over me. One of the few women who would have worked in Cadbury's, and her husband did housework. So again, changing the script, brave to change the script, very protective over her family. So yeah, they're probably the last 2 guests I'd pick. Kind of and we'd be rooftop. Yeah, we'd be rooftop bar in the Marker, so we'd get Dennis and Pat to see the lovely city of Dublin, and we'd be having tacos and nibbles and Long Islands.
That's what we're having. So Claire's getting a night off, is she? She's just going to chill and eat as well.
She is. She deserves it. She's always looking after me.
Well, we've reached the last question. Again, it's been such a pleasure to sit down with you. You know what I mean? I've loved your career. I love everything you stand for, all your values. Everybody who speaks of you speaks so highly of you. And now, having sat down with you, I know why. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
you're an inspiration to young women everywhere. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, you're an inspiration to young people everywhere. You know what I mean? Let's take gender out of it. Just you're an inspiration to young people. You know what I mean? To be able to be a multi-sport athlete at your level is just incredible. You know what I mean? So look after yourself. Keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like I can't wait to see you back on a rugby pitch and back in the Masters.
Yes, that is
when we
definitely.
Get a Masters.
No, we will. Like I've seen the thing up there for the Masters Cup there before we come on, so that was launched. And look, I can't thank you for having me on. Like I watched you when I was growing up, like to be in National League set up at 15, like so. I kind of it's funny. You're giving me all this, lovely feedback, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, hello. Like I watched you, the unbelievable athlete that you are yourself, and involved now in coaching and master teams yourself. So, this has been just a lovely chat to sit down with you. And honestly, thank you so much for having me on and to go down memory lane. And between being teary-eyed and having so much goosebumps going over stories and the amazing people we've had the privilege of connecting with, it's been amazing.
And we're both very lucky because we've got some amazing people in our lives. You know what I mean?
Big time.
Personally, as well as in sport. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of crossover between our friend group, so it's nice to see that as well. But look, last question: who would you like to see on the podcast?
Well, I think there has to be one winner and one winner only. Sharon Kelly.
Yeah. Right, Kelly, we're calling you out again.
Well, if Sharon doesn't come on, I'd love to see Michelle Aspel or Michelle Fahy.
Fahy's agreed to do it. Like, we're trying to get time together. But I'd love both of them on. Again.
Yeah, or Susan Moore. And I know you only asked me for one, but it's gas because there's so many I'd love to hear from and reconnect them and we chat on the daily. But to go over the basketball stories with specific questions, and these were deadly questions because it's nice to hear. And as I said, it brings up like the warm up was a big thing in the gym before basketball. If you got a good warm up set and music wise, you're like, yeah, you know what I mean. Or days out in the Obla where there'd be a couple of games, unbelievable.
Place hopping. Swaying. People just don't. They don't know. They just don't know how good the place was.
No, and that's why I think we should be just getting pump it back into basketball. Basketball in this country has had a barren period, and I'd love to see it. Like growing up, as I said, being out on buses, basketball in your hand, and I'm sure you were like me. The only time the basketball left your hand was when you had your dinner, but you still had the basketball in your hand, sitting on the couch watching telly.
Exactly it, yeah.
100%.
My mom tells the story of, having to come up the stairs and telling me to stop dribbling while I was lying in bed. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, no, I'm not ready to be done.
Yeah.
But
I used to be lying in the bed putting, remember scissor kicks, putting the ball from one hand through the other. Mark always ball handle. Or lying on your back, shooting the ball up in the air and catching it.
Absolutely. Things I'm telling the kids now. You know what I mean?
But kids, listen to Jaco, because I tell you what, I'd say I'd have very little lag time, I would hope, because of the amount of effort and work I put in. So muscle memory just come back naturally. If you can inbuild those patterns in your head, in your muscle, it's a skill for life. Get out and practice.
Lindsay Peat said, "Get out and practice." There you go. End the story.
Do
more to say. Lindsay, listen, thanks a million. It's been emotional.
It has. Thank you so much.
No problem.
An absolute pleasure.
Look after yourself.
All right, mind yourself. Take care, Jacob.
Thanks, Lindsay. So there we have the second part of Lindsay's episode. Hope you got plenty of takeaways from it. And just how amazing she is. I cannot emphasize how much I admire Lindsay Peat as a human and a sports person. She's absolutely fantastic. Head on over to our Instagram account to vote on the winner stays on. It's Team Peat against Team Dwyer. Battle of the senior ladies. Get voting. I'm dying to see which way this one goes, whether it goes old school or new school. Let's see. And also head over to the Shot Clock Podcast warm-up playlist on Spotify for Lindsay's 3 songs for her warm-up. And again, hopefully we do have a season this year, Basketball Ireland. It has to be the warm-ups for every game, the Shot Clock Podcast warm-ups. So at clubs, get tweeting at Basketball Ireland to get that done. Again, Minister Jack Chambers, I don't know whether you listen in. Hopefully you do. Come talk to me. Why can't we play indoors? Why can't our senior men have a crowd? If Leo Varadkar and Catherine Zapone can have dinner in the Merrion, what's stopping us from playing? Anyway, until next week, this is Jago saying, I'll see you on the court soon.